Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
We're keeping our eyes on the skies for you this afternoon as we give you a live look outside through our Skycam, our Windsor Skycam. Meteorologist Brandon Rue is here. He's tracking some of the scattered showers for you and when they're going to impact you. And the Fed cuts interest rates in half a percentage point, which is the biggest cut since 2008 in an emergency step to address the coronavirus fallout. Up next, we've got a look at how governments around the world are trying to cushion the social and economic impact of the virus. But first, breaking news. Destruction in Nashville. Overnight, a powerful tornado rips through Tennessee's capital. At least 19 people were killed, 45 buildings destroyed, and search and rescue teams are on the scene as survivors speak out.
So we're running down the hallway, the ceiling is just caving in, just debris everywhere, and water is just pouring from the ceiling and like waterfalls into the hallways.
Now at noon, a closer look at the impact. And that story does top our news here at noon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Evrod Cassimy. The tornado outbreak hit in Middle Tennessee overnight. Officials there saying that dozens of homes and buildings are destroyed and lines are down, leaving thousands of people, as you can imagine, without power. But gas lines are also feared to be a problem. Here's Chris Miller reporting from the ground in Nashville, Tennessee.
Absolute damage and devastation here north of Nashville this morning. This is the Germantown area. It's a popular growing area, and this morning it is completely crushed. This is a brick building, completely damaged this morning. Anything that's not made of brick is in rubble. We've got wood and sheet metal strewn all across the roads this morning. In the distance here, you see the downtown skyline of Nashville, and you can see that this Germantown neighborhood is less than a mile north of downtown Nashville. You could walk anywhere in this neighborhood this morning. You'd see damage everywhere. People are out walking around just surveying the damage and trying to get a good idea of what happened here last night.
I encourage all of you to pray for the families across our state that are facing tragedy right now, and that are dealing with heartache and hardship in ways that only they know.
We have crews running through the streets this morning with snow plows to clean up all the debris so they can reopen the roads as soon as possible. There's down power lines. The power is out in this area right now and will be for the foreseeable future. The gas station directly across the street where people were filling up their tanks last night is now closed down. There's gas pumps lying all over in sheet metal, and this is the scene here in Nashville. I'm Chris Miller.
All right, Chris, thank you for that. State officials have also closed off many of the area schools until they have a chance to make sure that they are safe. But our thoughts, of course, are with all the people that lost their lives there.
It's just the worst kind of timing for a storm like this.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why we do the severe weather radio campaigns, the middle of the night stuff when very few people are awake or alert.
And watching TV, right?
Yeah, I mean, we had, at least 19 died in these storms this morning. And this is a replay of the storms that rumbled through a little outbreak. 3 tornadoes could have all been on that same line, but just west of Nashville and then right over Nashville and just to the east of Nashville, a separate tornado, also north of Nashville. This is a tornado track that just kind of shows where that strong storm line rolled through from 11 o'clock last night through about 4 or 5 o'clock this morning. We had severe storms through Missouri, parts of Kentucky and Tennessee, and will be a little while before the Weather Service can truly know exactly how strong these storms were and will continue to be. It's Super Tuesday, so storms will keep rumbling into the Carolinas here under a marginal risk for severe weather, as are D.C. and Philadelphia up into the New York area. So again, just a monster of a morning storm that is still going. We're on the northern fringe of this, so we do have a little cloud cover, a little moisture trying to move in. Temperatures are in the 40s. Not much of a wind, but the wind will be picking up a little bit. Low to middle 40s. Live look there in Mount Clemens, partly sunny skies. We do have shower chances, especially after 3 p.m. Spotty light showers could slow down a couple of you on on the evening drive, but spotty being the key, 48 degrees. We do have some morning snow to discuss coming up.
But right now we want to get to breaking developments in the coronavirus crisis. The Fed cuts interest rates by half a percentage point, which is the biggest cut since 2008's financial crisis. And this is all in an emergency step to address the coronavirus fallout. What you're looking at here is the big board, a live look as investors react to the news. Central bank leaders voted unanimously on that cut, which came as global finance leaders tried to avert panic about the virus's spread. Now, in the meantime, New York's governor confirms the state's second case of the coronavirus. The person had no known travel to countries on watch lists. But in the meantime, the U.S. is ramping up its testing as officials in Washington state reported a 6th death from the virus. Also, there are now more than 100 confirmed cases in 15 states. In Iran, 77 people have died from the coronavirus, and there are now more than 2,300 new cases of the virus in that country. Over to Italy, the number of new cases there pushed past 2,000 today. Just 3 weeks ago, South Korea only had a handful of cases, but now there are nearly 5,000. Kelly Kobiea has this report from Seoul.
In South Korea, yet another jump in cases today, 900 more new cases, and that is because of the huge numbers of people being tested. More than 125,000 people have been tested for the virus in this country. The country has now set up mobile clinics where you can stay in your car, drive through, and be swabbed for the virus, the test coming back in a matter of a couple of days. In Europe, the risk for the coronavirus spreading has now gone up to high. Some predictions say that that area could be in a recession because of the coronavirus and the economic impact within a matter of months. In Japan, the government says it is still committed to the Olympics starting on time this summer. However, the parliament talked about it today. The Olympics minister suggesting that perhaps it wasn't up to Japan, that the IOC, International Olympic Committee, could delay the games if it wanted to. The IOC came out with a statement saying that they're committed to a successful games in Tokyo this summer and that athletes should continue to prepare. Kelly Kobiea, NBC News, Seoul, South Korea.
Thank you, Kelly. And if you're concerned about the coronavirus, there's a lot of information out there, but also a lot of misinformation. So tomorrow at 6 a.m., our Dr. Frank McGeorge is going to be answering more of your questions, finding verified facts to help protect you and protect your family as well. In other news this afternoon, an investigation is underway after a suspected drunk driver drove his car through a home in Ann Arbor. This happened just after midnight in the area of Carhart and Anderson Avenue. 3 people were inside of the home, but thankfully they weren't hurt. The 25-year-old driver was taken to the hospital with minor injuries, and police do believe that alcohol was a factor in this crash, but they're waiting on blood tests to confirm. Southbound I-275 is back open this afternoon in Farmington Hills after a deadly crash earlier this morning. It happened around 4 a.m. on the freeway between M5 and 8 Mile. State police said that a man was hit by another car, a Chrysler 300, and that car flipped over, landing on its roof. The driver of that car is in stable condition. On Detroit's east side now, a body is discovered in a house fire. This happened close to 1 this morning on Minnesota, right near John R. in Nevada. And right now, police believe the victim was between 40 and 50 years old.
New at noon.
A former Rochester high school teacher charged with having sex with students learned her fate today. In 2018, Catherine Hodeling was accused of having sex with 2 students and giving them Xanax. Well, she pleaded no contest to 6 counts of criminal sexual conduct and 1 count of delivering drugs. And in court, she expressed remorse for her actions.
I have learned so much about myself and other people through this tough process. I've learned to take full responsibility for my controllable actions and seek help for those things I cannot control.
Hodeling is going to spend 4 to 15 years in prison. Turning to Decision 2020 now, it is Super Tuesday, which is a make or break moment for the Democratic presidential candidates. What you're looking at here is video of various polling locations. Voters let their voices be heard in Falls Church, Virginia, as well as Richmond, Virginia, where the state's governor cast his ballot. Senator Elizabeth Warren also voted this morning in her home state of Massachusetts. But here's a look at the 14 states that are going to the polls today. Senator Elizabeth Warren will be in Metro Detroit when those results roll in tonight. She's going to be holding an event at Eastern Market that's scheduled for 7:15. And then Tulsi Gabbard is going to be speaking in Detroit as well tonight at Eastern Market on Russell Street. Her event is at the Eastern. And Mike Bloomberg is going to be in Macomb County on Thursday, as we are just 8 days away from the Michigan primary. And it's also worth noting for absentee voters here in Michigan, there are a number of candidates on your ballot now that are no longer in the race. As you know, on Sunday, Pete Buttigieg dropped out of the race, and on Monday, Amy Klobuchar ended her presidential campaign as well. Both, however, have endorsed Joe Biden for president. Still to come here on Local 4 News at noon, we're talking about trouble for deputies who took and shared graphic photographs at Kobe Bryant's crash scene. We've got to look at what the Los Angeles County Sheriff is doing to make sure that something like that never happens again. But first, lawyers for R. Kelly want a judge to dismiss some of the charges against him. We'll tell you which ones and why his lawyers are fighting to get rid of them.